Pounds of the deadly drug fentanyl are off the streets after a statewide drug raid.
Police also seized $500,000 and some guns, too. Glad you're with us, everybody. I'm Darren Kramer.
I'm Ann Nyberg. Police arrested 9 people in this bust, and they say those drugs were purchased right over the internet. News 8's Bob Wilson has been following this story. He joins us now live from Hartford. Bob.
Yeah, you know what? They used the dark web to coordinate with China and the Mexican cartels. The DEA saying all this in a news conference in New Britain, saying the drug cartels, Sinaloa specifically, they called them out, has their fingers deep in Connecticut. Today, DEA struck back.
Officers from more than a half a dozen Connecticut towns and DEA agents and state police launched a statewide massive drug raid, serving search warrants from Bristol to Enfield to New Britain and other towns in between. DEA agents say this home on Sunrise Avenue, New Britain, is where the bulk of the 5 pounds of fentanyl was found, along with $500,000 in cash, guns, and many other drugs, in Connecticut's largest fentanyl raid in history.
The evidence suggests here that these purchases were made over the dark net, and they were shipped here originating from China. So that's what we're dealing with here. This is the scope and breadth of the problem.
DEA says the Mexican Sinaloa drug cartels are behind most of the drugs. They buy the fentanyl and their chemicals in China, mix it with heroin in Mexico, and then distribute it throughout Connecticut and New England, using the dark web to coordinate the drug ring.
It's the anonymous underground internet. It's not on the surface. So you need a special browser, and oftentimes you'll need an introduction or somebody to vouch for you in order to get access.
Police say this massive drug bust all started with a simple traffic stop back in December, and they've been working the case ever since. And they say they have made 9 arrests in all. However, they're not closing out the investigation just yet. They say more arrests and more seizures may be possible.
In China, the chemists are taking these molecules apart and they're reconfiguring them and they're shipping them back through Mexico. And how do you track this and how do you resolve this? Luckily, everybody in this room, big team effort.
DEA says fentanyl is one of the most potent drugs out there and one of the easiest to overdose on.
3 or 4 grains of fentanyl, think of a grain of sand or a grain of salt. That's enough to kill a person. And that's how dangerous it is.
A grain, think of a grain of sand, a couple of those can kill you according to the DEA. And when they went in and went on the raids, they did wear the hazmat suits because they didn't want to take any chances. That's what we're up against here in Connecticut. It almost sounds like it's out of a movie. I'm Bob Wilson, reporting live, News 8.